This is a primer on Map Reduce scripts. If you're struggling to get your head around what a Map Reduce script does or what the framework is all about, this video is for you. If you're looking for a deep dive into the technical aspects of a Map Reduce script, it's probably not going to be very helpful for you, but here we go. We're going to be describing how this works using a deck of cards to represent our records. So without further ado, let's dive right in. The get input data phase is always called first. This is where we would compose a search, load a file, do whatever it takes to get this list of records. This represents the entire table that we're examining, the record type. We're going to execute a search or something that's going to just cull this and get just the records that we want. So I'm going to grab the top, let's say 30 cards in this stack here. And those will be the records that I'll process, and those will get passed to the next phase. The map phase is where we get to do some work with our records. Each individual record will be dealt with, but we'll do it in several lanes. These lanes are called processors. You start off with 2 processors, 1, 2, based on how many SuiteCloud Plus licenses you have. So each processor is going to process a single record at a time. They don't talk to each other. That Jack has no idea the 7's being processed right now. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to these records, and then I'm going to tag them. I'm going to tag them with a suit. So this is a diamond, and this is a heart. And that is important because what I'm tagging these with is actually the bucket they're going to go into later in the process. And 2 by 2, I process, and I move along. Next, I have a joker. This has no suit. This is an error. That's okay, we get rid of it and we keep moving on. The Map Reduce process does not stop for anything, so that error goes away and we continue to process. The machine is just trucking right along, zipping through these records, and each one is getting tagged with the suit. The third phase of the Map Reduce is called Shuffle, although it's really doing the opposite of shuffling because it's sorting into those buckets that we'd set out before. We tagged each card with its suit. So now, because of that tag, we're going to shuffle each of these records into its own little subcategory. This is an unchangeable part of the Map Reduce framework, and you have no control over what happens here except by defining what those buckets are. Reduce phase is a lot like the map phase in that we're going to be processing records in each processor and in parallel. The difference is in Reduce, we're processing them by the bucketful. So each bucket that we've tagged gets one processor. We're going to process all of them at once. We have an array of cards on the left and an array on the right, and we're going to do something with each one of these. Maybe we're sending out a report for one department over here and a report for another department over here. Whatever it is, we're going to do what we have to do to each of these groups of cards, and then we're going to press on, and we'll do the next pair of cards. Again, if we had more than one SuiteCloud Plus licenses, there would be 5, 10, 15, up to 25 stacks of cards here. And the last phase of the Map Reduce script is the summarize phase. This gives us a chance to really zoom out and look at our results. We've got a total of 30 cards that we've processed with a score of 254 using the numerical values of the cards in the game of blackjack. That error message is gone but not forgotten as well. We can have access to all the error messages and compile a master list of errors right here in this summarize phase. We also have access to all the data in the reduce phases all at once, so it gives us the opportunity to look at each group of cards that were processed in each reduce and compare one to the other, maybe rank them, spades versus hearts versus clubs, etc. We can also see some statistics about metadata for the script, governance burned and time used, etc. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something in the last 5 minutes that you didn't know before. This is just a high-level map reduce primer, but if you need more information, Eric Grubel has some great resources on his YouTube channel, and you can always check out my book, NetSuite Development and SuiteScript 2.0 on LeanPub. Thank you.